Hey, everybody. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about as this newest hurricane is coming in. Now, a lot of you are not dealing with hurricanes. I get it. But even those of you that don't normally deal with it can benefit from understanding aspects of the cat that are far and away universal. Um, but here's the thing. Okay, the first thing that happens is when we have these storms. One, somebody's going to say it's not a big deal. And then a bunch of people come in behind it and say, it's not a big deal. 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 And it'd be pretty annoying. Truth is, you don't really know. You don't know until you know. And then you got those other people say, this is the Holy Mother. This is the one. This is the one. This is going to be terrible. This is going to be excellent. We need to drop everything, run up the Amex bill, load up the trucks, and roll. Those guys go out, and the naysayers at the front side were right. And it's a nothing burger. We had one a few years back that just got stuck in the Bahamas and never showed up. And I know that just in contacts, I know there was at least $5 million spent just putting infrastructure in place to work for that storm that never showed up in Florida. But like, for example, it's going to get to a time, a day and a half, 2 days out, where you're going to know generally where it's going. But even then, you're still not going. Because when the storm shows up, it's a cluster. And there's no sense in banging on doors at that moment. But there is sense in banging on doors really quickly thereafter. So what I suggest that everybody do when you have a cat, figure out where it might be. Get about 40 miles out from where you think it might be. Go ahead and rent a hotel room. If you got an RV, rent a hotel site, RV site. Matter of fact, on this hurricane, I already in Zephyr Hills, Florida, I just reserved an RV site for 30 days just because I'm probably going to need to use it. I'll cancel it if not, and I'll get my money back and it won't be any big deal, but I have some ability to move around and some when everybody else is running their heads off. But I also tell you this. When we start these hurricanes, we have something that I refer to as the fog of the cat. And as we have the fog of the cat, the first 100 days after a large catastrophe don't go anything like what you think they're going to go. People aren't going to pay you on time. People aren't going to sign your contract. People are going to get mad at you. People are going to be short-tempered. Housing is going to be a problem. Deliveries are going to be a problem. Food's going to be a problem. All kinds of things, all kinds of creature comforts that you expect won't be there. And everything's going to just run slower. So in that first 100 days, you just can't take yourself too seriously. Look, when we deploy our guys in our estimation, in our inspection group, I mean, sometimes the logistics of just having them a place to stay and where to get fuel, sometimes these things are just hard to handle. But this is true of hurricanes, large hail events, large ice storms, mudslides, you name it. It all basically works the same way. But I want to tell you this more than anything else in the world. You work in the claims tribe. That means that everyone you run into is in some form of peril. Generally speaking, it's because their greatest asset or their business has been knocked to its knees and is putting pressure on you, on the insured in ways that they've never imagined. And whether you like it or not, you're kind of a mental health agent at that point. I know you PAs, I know you know this. I know you lawyers, I know you know this. Because so often you've got to have bedside manner in what you do. But those guys that walk through the door first to do mitigation, the guys who do asbestos, the guys who do lead, the folks who put the tarp on, They got the boat folks who removed the trees. All of those people are so often the only positive thing that the insured sees over a course of time. And it's just painful. And, you know, I worked Hurricane Katrina years ago. And I'd been there a little while, and I was working, and I'd met with this psychiatric hospital where I was doing an assessment on it. And the doctor who ran it looked at me and said, David, how you doing? I said, I'm doing good. And she said, no, you aren't. I can see it in your eyes. I said, what do you mean? She said, you're so accustomed to seeing all this pain that you start thinking this is normal. And it's not. You have to leave here. You're probably going to need to leave at least once every 2 weeks and spend a few days somewhere else where things are normal. Because otherwise, that trauma that you're catching with the insureds is like a bucket that's continually filling up. And at some point, it's going to spill over. And when it does, it's going to create a mental tragedy for you that you have no way to handle. And a tear came to my eye because I knew she was right. And since that time, I've learned with like our field crew, we always tell them, find a place to eat dinner, eat that same place every day, sit at the same table, get waited on by the same people, go the same time. Spend 30 minutes out of your day doing something creative. Don't care what it is. Play a guitar, draw something creative. Because that's going to help heal your mind too. And I'm telling you, you're a bunch of tough folks. You are. But you're not bulletproof. And it's the heart that you have that lets you do what you do. The last thing I'll tell you is you need to do the work that you're cashed up for. And this is a hard lesson for most. You've got to have some staying power. Because like I said, a lot of things aren't going to go right. And among those, monies that are supposed to come are not always going to come on time. And you don't want to be in a situation where you absolutely positively need the payment. We've had to learn this over and over in our businesses. You know, the last hurricane, we had more people than ever before that just didn't pay us. And that sent me down to the bank to deal with it at the bank till we could collect those funds. But it put us in a position where we shouldn't have had to be in had we known where to stop. We know where to stop. We're big boys. We've done this before. But even though we've been doing this for well over a decade, it's an art that you learn over and over again. One thing's for sure. This community can be very valuable for you guys that are working the CAT. Because the trial by fire you get is often able to be quelled by good advice. And I think right here, I think we can provide more good advice than many other places in the business. But I'm proud to walk into another CAT with you guys. I really am. I've seen so many of you do so many amazing things. And most of it, no one will ever know about. Not in a large way. Peace, y'all. Let's do this.